What we're going to do, you'll see I have this screen going up. This is a hands-on experience. We'd like you to log into your Edge account and be able to follow along with us. So please log into your Edge account and raise your hand. Kathy, I notice you're on the call. That's great. If you could pick up any new tidbits, hopefully I'll get something on there for you. Whoops.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lytle, and I'll be hosting our training for Mortgage Coaches Introduction to Edge. So what we're going to do today is go ahead and provide a training on how to create a report. And with that, let me go ahead and show you our report we're going to create today. It is going to be a total cost analysis. We'll go through it slowly. I'll show you how you could create an FHA product as well as a conventional product. We'll go through developing fee and product templates and walk you through that whole process. So this is a hands-on experience. I would like you to log into Edge with me as we're going through this process. So with that, if you could go ahead and go to your Edge account. But before we do that, as we're logging in, just do edge.mortgagecoach.com. This is also in our chat area. You could go ahead and click on the link there. And while you're logging in, we're going to ask a couple poll questions. So Marcy, if you can help me out, let's go ahead and launch our poll questions. Just one moment. Okay, so what I would like to know is, have you downloaded the mobile app? What we're going to do is go through the mobile app as well. So if you have your iPad or phone, please have it handy. I'll show you how you can download both Edge as well as RateWatch. Okay, so it looks like you don't have it downloaded, so that would be good. We'll go ahead and show you how to do that. And I'm just curious, you're all new to Edge. Have you gone into Edge and tried to develop, create a presentation yourself? So have you gone in there and been able to create a TCA, open house flyer, rent versus own, any type of okay, so it looks like we don't. Okay, that's fine. This is perfect because this is where you start, and we'll walk you through that whole process. So with that, let's go ahead and log into Edge. Actually, what we're going to do is bring up the mobile app. So please go ahead and get your mobile app handy. And what I'm using is an iPad. So with that, let me bring it over so you can see. I'm using an iPad, but this works, the process works for both the Android as well as the iPad. So what I'm doing is going to my App Store. And with that, once you go to your App Store, just do a search on Mortgage Coach. It's that easy. So once you do a search on Mortgage Coach, you're going to get two apps, our RateWatch app as well as our Mortgage Coach app. So if you can see, once you do a search, you'll have both of the apps here easily to download. So on your mobile device, just remember to go to your App Store, search for Mortgage Coach, and download these apps. So if you could do that while I'm talking, then when we're doing our training, you'd be able to put a link in and you'd be able to follow along with me. So right now what I'm going to do is just show you what those icons look like on the desktop. You have RateWatch, and if I go ahead and click on it, not that I'm diving into this deeply, but I want to be able to point out just a couple items. This is RateWatch. You'll have the icon in the upper left-hand corner that you can go ahead and tap, and you'll be able to see the different menu options. If you want to see the day watch versus the last week, you'll be able to see how the mortgage-backed securities are working. So we have complete trainings on RateWatch that you'll be able to attend, and we also have video tutorials that will explain this further. So with that, I'm just going to wanted to show you that real quick, and then we'll be working with the Mortgage Coach app later. So be able to show you the report we create and you'll be able to see how that is viewed on our Mortgage Coach app. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this off, and let's go ahead and dive into Edge. So remember, log into edge.mortgagecoach.com, and as you're logging in, it's just your email address and your password. And if this is the first time you logged in, password is most likely pass123. I also want to point out, please open up the question area and go to meeting. Ask any questions along the way. If you see something on the screen, want to explain more, again, put it in the question area and we'll address it as we go along through our training today. So with that, when you log in, this is the home screen for Edge. You'll have the upper area. This represents your client-facing reports. That's the total cost analysis and the rent versus own. The lower area here, those are your partner-facing reports, the open house flyer, as well as the seller buy-down. So to start a report off, at the very top, you have new client or new partner. So that starts off a report. So you would just click on that and be able to start your presentation. Already had it, you could go ahead and just double-click on any of your reports here, and it will go ahead and open up. Next we have at the top is our settings. So if you click on settings, you can see where all your contact information is. So you want to make sure all this information is complete. Please look at your license number. With that, make sure it has an identifier in front of that number. Otherwise, you would just have a number and no one knows what it represents. Upper left-hand corner is your address, and anytime you make a change in here, press save, and that will go ahead and save your data to the system. Next tab, you want to upload your image, because on the report it has your image plus the contact information and your logo. And the one question I have, if you could go ahead, I want you to raise your hands. Let me know if you're on an enterprise account. If you are, if you're on an enterprise account, your logo might already be downloaded for you, and you'll be able to see it here. We'll walk through as we develop our report. This is where you can access your fee templates and your product templates. So I'll show you how you'll be able to create it while you're creating a report. And then you can always go in here and make any kind of modifications to the fees or develop product templates further. So now let's go back to our home screen. And before we dive into a new client, I want you to click on Help. So go ahead and click on Help, and this will bring you to our knowledge base. We have many video tutorials in this area, plus a search engine. So if I wanted more information, say on Rate Watch. So I type in Rate Watch, press a search, and it provides me all the video tutorials surrounding Rate Watch. You have a question on mortgage insurance, type mortgage insurance in here, and I'll provide you all the video tutorials or frequently asked questions as well. Want to point out at the top, you can see we have different featured walkthrough videos, how to create a purchase TCA, refi, FHA and Edge. At the very top, we have our events calendar. So you have events calendar, find out more training, and we have coaching call archive, which provides all our coaching calls as well as our training Thursday and our introduction to Edge. So with today, we will be posting this call right in this area right here, and you can always review it and go back and create more reports and get into Edge. So with that, everyone, let's go ahead and dive in. Click on New Client, and let's start our process out. So clicking on New Client, you can see how it opened up to the data entry screens, and it's all blank. You'll notice that we have our 8 ribbons at the bottom. The first 4 screens that we're going to go through, very minimal data. We'll go through, I'll tell you exactly what to enter. We want to get through and create a simple presentation, and we want to do it quickly. So with that, those of you who are following along with me, can you please raise your hand and go to meeting so I get an idea of who's following along with doing the data entry? Okay, Mark, that's great. All right, Brian. Hey, Susan, let's log in. And you could go ahead and we could start doing our training. So perfect. If you also have a second monitor, put the GoToMeeting on the other side. If you only have one monitor, keep Edge up because I'll walk you through each of the pieces so you don't need to actually watch the GoToMeeting screen. Okay, so in our first screen, this is our contact information. So you'd want to go ahead and put in first name and last name. And if you have a co-borrower, you can enter their information in this area here. Also want to point out, if you're doing a marketing report, you could go ahead at the top, click marketing. Just shows you, it just has a report headline versus all the borrower's names. So that's the difference between that. Okay, Susan, that's great. So, and we also have this recorded as well. But please ask any questions along the way, even though you're just taking notes. Ask any kind of questions. Let us know how we can help you. So you got first, last, co-borrower's name. If you have a phone number, you want to go ahead and enter that here. And then if you do put a phone number in, it does go on the email alert, so want to point that out. You could capture your referral, partner email address. If you're working with a partner and they want to receive the email alert, which happens to be a, let's see if I can pull one up. Don't seem to have that right here. So what an email alert is letting you know, anytime a presentation is closed, you're going to get an email letting you know how long it has been viewed and the link for the report. So you can reach out to the borrower at that point in time and answer any questions. So with the partner email, you could go ahead and put in your realtor partner, and they would receive that as well. So you go ahead. They will receive an email alert. If you're working with an assistant or a processor and they want to receive the alerts, go ahead and just place that email here. When we get to the presentation screen in the preview, we have an additional box that you would check to get that email alert. Friendly name field is just a field to be able to capture the reference. What is this file? If it's a purchase, a refi, we do have a copy function, so this way you would know what particular report you're creating. So it's always good to put a friendly name, especially when you start working with open house flyers. When you start working with that, we have the copy function, so you're not keying in or having to upload images and contact information. Good habit to get in that friendly name field. So as I advance my screen, I'm using the arrows in the middle section of the screen. Anytime you move left or right, that will save your data. In our goal section, just mark purchase, and then we're going to go ahead and move on. Now we're in our assumption screen. So we're already 3 screens in, and we have middle data. That's perfect, Brian. I was just going to mention what those notes are in just one moment. Brian has a question on these yellow notes, and you'll see them from screen to screen. And what you'll be able to do here is just place any type of notes. Say you were talking to them and they have 2 children. You'll be able to put that information. Went to college. Any kind of information. This notes area is just for yourself. And you can see as I move back in my screen, those notes carry with me. They won't appear on the report, but if you are working with an assistant or someone who's also working in your Edge account, they'll also be able to see those notes that you post there. And no, your client will not see these notes at all, just internal in Edge. So next in the assumption area, we're going to put in the purchase price. So let's put in $250,000. And what I want to do is go ahead and show you if you left this blank. If I advance my screen, I have an exclamation mark in that assumptions area. That's telling me that I have a field in red that was left empty. So just wanted to point that out, those exclamation marks. Now let's go ahead and move to the next screen because these fields are for refinances. Next screen, I'll touch base a little bit on here, but if you want to move fast through Edge, you don't need to key in anything here. It's just asking for that gross income. Credit status, again, it's just a drop down. We're not running credit, so if they told you they had good, excellent, bad credit, you could go ahead and indicate it. It's just for your notes. Say they have $500 a month in non-mortgage debt. They have $25,000 in their savings balance at a 0.25 interest rate. And what this will do is by filling out the gross income and your mortgage debt, when we get into our products, we'll provide the DTI ratio. And then in the savings balance, if you fill this information in our reinvestment strategy, we'll also be able to show you if there's enough money for cash to close. So if you happen to capture that information, you could go ahead and place it in here. We do have the option to show the tax benefit. If you want to do that and don't know your tax bracket, click on this link here and it just opens into a new page, and you can go ahead and identify the year, filing status, and get an estimate on their tax bracket. So that is right here. Also want to point out, we do MCC credit loans. So if you do those type of loans, you'd be able to do a comparison with and without. So then the borrower would be able to really see that savings. So we do have MCC credit products. Moving on to the next screen. I'm not going to fill out any information. You'll notice there's no fields in red. I want to move on, make this presentation quick. Now I move through my products. So you can see how quick and easy it is to move through the first 4 screens, just putting in minimal data, the borrower's name, market of purchase, sales price, and if you choose to, you can put that gross income and savings balance. So it's very minimal data, just getting to the product section. So next we're going to create our FHA product. So to do so, let's go ahead and change the name of the title, FHA, 3.5% down. With our titles, you need to limit it to 12 characters. This is always a good way of doing it, just conventional, 5% down. You don't really need to put the term. Term is on the report, so you don't need to put it in the title. Just trying to give you different ideas to keep that minimal of 12 characters. Next, it's not a refinance. And if you're on an enterprise account, you might have some templates. So click on that drop down, and if you have an FHA product template, go ahead and select it and pull it through. I'm going to build the template so you can follow along with me and create your first template. And so we'll start at that point. On our second product, we could show you how you can pull in templates. So let's go ahead and put in $250,000 for the sales price. And if you click on that percentage button, that opens the percentage field right here. And let's key in 3.5%. So the system will calculate your down payment and provide you that base loan amount. Next, let's put in the interest rate of 4 and the term of 360. Now what this will do, one more field, upfront premium. Use that drop down, market FHA. This is providing your upfront MIP field. So go ahead and market FHA. This will be part of your default. The 3.5% will be a default, as well as the 360. So when you use those templates, all you have to do is just put in the purchase price and the interest rate. So we're going to advance to the next screen, which is our fees screen. And when I do so, take a look at the upper right-hand corner, because as soon as I advance to the next screen, that data is going to be filling out, and we're starting to develop those graphs. So you can see right now that it's reflecting the P&I payment. We haven't gotten into the monthly costs. Below that, you see the DTI as well as the loan-to-value ratio. So if I didn't fill in that gross income, my DTI would just be empty here. So I wanted to point that out. APR fees. So there's a couple ways to do fees. The first thing I want to do is let's work with our defaults. So prepaid interest days. I'm going to go ahead and default 15 days of prepaid interest. You could put whatever your company's. I see 5 in there. I see 30. Most common is 15. If you hover your mouse over it, you can actually see that dollar amount as well. Now moving down to the upfront premium field, let's click on that percent sign and put 1.75. It will calculate the dollar amount, and we're going to add it to the loan amount. This will also be part of your default. Now there's 2 ways of doing fees. You could do it as a lump sum. So say I have $1,800 in APR fees, another $1,200 in non-APRs, and $2,500 in prepaid escrows, your monthly costs. You could do it this way. But there is a way to be able to do it as itemized. And if you click on closing cost details, this is where you'll be able to build out fee templates. And you remember in the beginning I showed you into settings, the area where you can modify those fee templates. So with that, I want to point out, if you're on an enterprise account, you can go ahead and select your state and then find your fee template. What I'm going to do is create this fee template from scratch. We're going to create it from scratch on the FHA, and when we move to the conventional product, I'll use the template that we just created and show you how you can modify it and save a new template. Again, this is saving you time each time you're going in it. So with that, if you look in the middle area, you have a blue bar. It shows the total. So you have prepaid inches of 15 days, and it shows the dollar amount of 403. You'll notice down at the base you have the borrower paid items, lender or seller paid. So I'll be able to show you how you'll be able to also do a contribution or having a fee being applied to the lender or seller. Next, we have our green buttons, add a fee or add a custom fee. Go ahead and click on add a fee a couple times, and you'll see we have line items now appearing. We'll have on each line item, you can identify what fee through the drop down, the method of payment. So you have a dollar amount where you could go ahead and put in a dollar figure, but you can also put in a percentage and combine that amount. So you have a method of percentage plus a dollar. So if your company, when they provide loan estimates, and they do a padding sometimes, this is how you could do that. So I want to point that out. We have the total right here, and then paid by. This is where you could select if that fee is being paid by the lender or seller. Next is your APR column. If you're doing refinances, want to add fees to the loan amount, you would just go ahead and mark it in this column. And look at the very bottom, you could go ahead and click it, and it will go ahead and mark all your fees at once. PPE, what this is for is prepaid escrow. So we'll talk about this when we get more into our monthly cost screen. So now with it, we have a description. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an APR fee, a non-APR fee, a custom fee, which we'll do through add custom fee, and then we'll show you how to do a contribution. So with that, let's go ahead and choose P for a processing fee. So if I type the P, I select processing fee, and then go ahead and put in that dollar amount and mark it as an APR. So right here, that's how you key in an APR item. Non-APR item works similarly. Let's go ahead and select the appraisal fee, put in your dollar amount, and then leave it as not marked as an APR. Let's go ahead and remove this dollar amount. Got the wrong line. So there's your APR, non-APR. You can see how simple it is. And when you're developing your fee template, the easiest way to go about it is to grab a fee cost sheet from your system. It has the fee descriptions. It also has your dollar amount and if the fee is an APR. So that's a good place to start to put your fees within Edge. Next, what I want to do is show you how to develop a custom fee. So if you don't see your fee description listed in the drop-down, click on Add Custom Fee. And then at this point, you can put whatever description it is for your fee. I think today, so you can just go ahead and put in that label here. And then I'm going to, actually I want to put something on it. I'm only putting Friday on here. It's just an identifier that I created this template today so I could show you that this is our template we're working with. So this is how you go ahead, put in your label. If you're using that percentage fee, if you're working with stamp taxes, things like that, is that percentage using the loan amount or the sales price property value? So you have an option where that percentage is going, as well as if the fee is an APR or not. So this is how you could go ahead and create that fee. That fee now will be in your drop-down, so you'll always be able to use it, not have to recreate it. And then go ahead and put in your dollar amount. So it's really quick to create a fee. So now let's talk about contributions. So with that, click on Add Fee. Now in the drop-down, choose the letter C and choose Contribution. With that, Mortgage Coach has logic tied behind this label. So I'm able to put in my dollar amount as a positive, and I can identify who's paying that amount. What I want to do is, let's remove that real quick. What I want to point out is at the bottom, it says borrower paid, that total amount, lender and seller paid is at 0. So if I put in 500, it reduces that borrower amount by 500, and since I have it indicated that the seller is picking up the charge, now we have costs in the seller area. So that's how you can do a contribution using our label, keeping the dollar as a positive. So now let's show you how you can do a custom label for your contribution. So if you didn't want to use this word contribution, wanted something else, add custom fee, you could go ahead and create your label. Say you wanted lender's contribution just for some reason. Or if you want earnest money, you know, something like that, that's where you have to do your contributions. I press OK, but because I created this label, I need to enter that dollar amount as a negative to offset those borrower costs. So as soon as I press return, you'll see that the borrower's costs decrease, but at this point the description is in the name. You need to leave it to the paid by the borrower. Reason for it, it needs to go against those borrower costs. It needs to offset it. So it has to be a negative because there's no logic. You created that field. So if you have any more questions on the fees, we will be covering it one more time when we go to the conventional products. So any kind of questions, go ahead and let me know, but we've covered all the processes on developing that template. So now at the very base, you have Save as Template. You could go ahead and save it, FHA, fees, and I'm labeling this just as Friday. You can also, if you originate in multiple states, you can identify if that fee table is for a specific state. So you have that option as well. Once you press OK, it saves it, and your fee template is now in your drop-down menu. Once you're all done, you want to always apply to loan. This will take all your fees and apply it to the loan. So you'll see now on the outside here, my fields are grayed out. The reason for it is we're using the closing cost details. If you ever need to make a change in your fees, click back in the closing cost details and make your modifications. Just like that, apply to loan, always apply to loan, and it will update those numbers. So now we have our fees keyed in. I want to point out the points field. So say you have a rebate or negative points, you could go ahead and put that in here, and if you put your mouse over it, it tells you that dollar amount. So let's move on now to the monthly cost screen, our last screen on our products. Let's open up our percentage fields and key in amounts. This will also be part of your default, so it does help if you fill this out. You won't have to touch the screen, so that's what the nice thing about it. So I'm going to put in 0.35 and 1.25 for my taxes. If you want to put an estimate of $1, you can. You could just open it up and put an estimate as a dollar amount. So dollar or a percentage, either or. Next, let's talk about mortgage insurance. So on FHA products, 3.5% down, our MI factor is 0.85. So I want to go ahead and place that in our MI factor field. Right below that, you'll see calculate MI on balance. You want to make sure you mark that because that provides the FHA declining balance. So want to make sure that's marked, as well as the cutoff month of 360. What 360 is telling the system is you want to take MI for the life of the loan. So this is how you key in the FHA, and this will all be part of your default, so you only have to do that once. Next, let's do reserve. So I'm going to have 2 months hazard, 4 months of taxes, and I'm collecting a 12-month premium. With the hazard reserves, want to point out, once you've keyed in this information and you do have your percentages, this is how it shows in the fee. So I'm moving back a screen. You could keep your screen the way it's at. Go into your closing cost details. You'll notice now my prepaid escrows have a dollar amount. And if I go into my closing costs, you'll have 3 additional line items. Your premium, hazard insurance reserves, and premium, as well as your tax reserves. You'll notice it's grayed out. So if you need to make any changes in this area, say I don't want the premium, I press the trash can, and that removes it from my fees. Remember, always apply to loan. And now when we go back to our monthly cost, you'll see that it's now the 12-month premium is unmarked. Just wanted to show you the correlation between those two screens. Now let's move on and add another, first save a template and then add another product. So this is our first product template. It went ahead and carried over what we called the report, this product, and I'm just going to go ahead and keep this with the same title. I'll also put the word Friday so you can see I developed this today. I'm going to press OK. It saved my template. Now let's add that conventional product. So click on Add Another Product. And now let's develop that conventional. You'll notice the graph has been updated to also include the reserves now. So let's do a conventional, 5% down. No, it's not a refi. Again, if you have product templates, choose one for conventional fixed. From premium, we don't have any, but also want to explain you'd use this for your VA, USDA, or if you're doing a single premium. Let's put in that 250. Let's put 5% down, 4 1/4 rate, and 360. So just like the FHA product, the term and the down payment will be defaulted for you. Once we move to the next screen, we're going to do our fees again. So let's go ahead and click on the closing cost details first. Put in 15 days prepaid interest. You'll notice also at the base, since I didn't mark it as an FHA, there's no upfront MI down here. Now click on the closing cost details. And go ahead and select the fee template you just developed. You can see how you can select it and the fee template will come down. So now say we need to add a tax service. So this is how you can quickly develop fee templates, just by creating one and then using it over and over and developing further ones. So I'm going to add a tax service fee. So I'm going to type T for tax service, put my dollar amount and mark it as an APR cost. So you can keep modifying. If your fees are different, you can go ahead and change the dollar amounts, add fees, delete fees, but always remember to save it as a template. If you're on an enterprise account and they provided you fee templates, pull it down, modify it, and save it as your own template. And if you're working with a branch, let us know. We can also let everyone in your branch share those templates as well. So with that, let's go ahead and do this as conventional fees. And again, put a state in there if you like. And now I develop my second product or fee template. Apply to loan. And let's move to our monthly costs and finish off this product. Open up your percentages, 0.35. I'm in California. Those are the numbers we use, 0.35 and 1.25. And let's say our MI is at 82%. Remember, MI cutoff percentage, conventional products put in 78 in this area. This is the LTV when percentage that the MI will be dropped from the loan. Then let's go and put in 2 months reserve, 4 months of taxes, and 12 months premium. And you want to save it as a template. So while you're saving as a template, take note also on the upper right-hand corner we have our 2 graphs side by side, so we can start comparing it with the product titles below that, as well as the DTI and loan to value. So you can add up to 4 products. Today we're going to go ahead and stop at 2. Moving on to our analysis screen, want to point out property appreciation rate is defaulted to 3. You want to put it to whatever it is in your area, or you can even leave it at 0 if you choose to. Short term, 5 years, that is the lower left-hand corner. As you start learning Edge and working with Edge Live, this is a goal question you would ask. How long are you staying in your house? 5 years? Maybe it's 4 years? Show them what those savings is based upon their goals. So I go ahead and put it back at 60. Long-term analysis, it's the lower right. We just defaulted at 15. You could show, just like the short-term, any term period. So say if I wanted to show 30 years, it shows me the interest and MI over that 30-year period. Now, take a peek. I'm not diving into it too much, but we have the reinvestment strategy, and this is where that savings account is. So if you go into that savings account, you can see I have that $25,000. So with that and the cash to close, you can see how much they have left, to see if they have enough money. That's also in the report, but I wanted to point that out. And then we also have a way where you can apply money toward principal and show them a freedom point. So we do have video tutorials, but we also do a lot of trainings on that. You can go into our MCU, get onto the training for the reinvestment, and learn how to use that. It's a great tool. On our long-term area, we could show total interest and MI, which is what we're going to do today. But if you're using that reinvestment, you might want to show them the net worth. And we also have an option of principal pay. So moving on, we're going to our contact information. You could go ahead and put in their information as well as the street address. I'm just putting in to be determined for now. You can always place in the city if that's the case. And you'll have that information. Privacy, sometimes people just don't put that street, but you can still put your city, state, and zip. Advance the screen. We're doing a total cost, and we're almost done. This is the last screen we do any data entry in. Mark it as a total cost. Put in your payment notes, and that is estimated taxes and insurance are included in your payment. This is a compliance piece for you to use. I'll show you on the report where it will go ahead and display, but always put it, gives them an idea that it is included. As I advance, we're just looking at each of those screens one more time, just as a review. Just remember, you can always hover your mouse over presentation, click on preview, and get there rather quickly instead of advancing all the screens. Now let's put on a quote date. And explain this, and then we're going to preview the report. You can save it as a PDF, and you can print it, but everything is in the email link. You want to email that link out to your borrower. Next field here is notify me. This is what triggers that email alert. If you want to send one to the partner, you put in an email address for the partner, you're going to have this additional line here as well. By clicking on preview, we can go ahead and preview our report. So this is what we just developed. In our lower right-hand corner, you'll see the save and the print functions. So as I mentioned before, the borrower would be able to save it themselves or print it themselves. So you always want to send that link. So they'll be able to see the report and print it out if they choose to. Just want to point that out. Has all the information behind the more info buttons. But what I was doing is I pressed the share button. It provides the link to the report, and I'm placing that in our chat area. If you want to click on that link to the report, you can follow along and you can experience what your borrowers would experience with you when you use Edge Live. So now that we created the report, first before we start explaining it, let's show you how you could do a video. Moving back to Edge, the next button is Generate Link. Click on Generate Link, and this is where you can also get the link. You copy this link and you place it in an email to your borrower, and that's what they click on to view your report. Below, you'll see that you have Add Audio Video button, so go ahead and click on that. And you'll notice it will display the report one more time, and then in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see the Record Message button. So go ahead and click on the Record Message button, and it's going to say Allow or Deny. you want to go ahead and allow your use of your camera. Hi everyone, my name is Lytle. With the camera piece, what you would want to do is just be able to focus, try to get direct eye contact, introduce yourself, keep it casual, tell them a little bit about the products and the service that you're going to provide. So it's quite easy, quite simple to record. Look at the bottom here, you have your record button, your play. If you're talking, wanted to pause and then continue, you got a pause button here. Stop, and if you want to remove it, you have the trash can as well. Below that, if you don't have a camera yet, always put a message on your report, even if it's audio only. And there's a button down here to be able to do an audio only message. So with that, that's how you'll be able to record a message. And also in support, we have a video tutorial, again, how you can go create a video in Edge. Also want to point out, you're able to create a video with the mobile device as well. We'll touch base with it a little bit, but we do have a lot of training, especially with the open house presentations. With that video piece, it's really wonderful. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about the report. Upper left-hand corner is your summary section. So if you're sending out Excels or emails, this is where you can see all that data, all the numbers and information there. So you have your loan amount, the interest rate, the term, you got the cash to close between the two products. And if you notice, I'm highlighting all those fields. And you could do the same on your report just by hovering your mouse over that field and left clicking. Left click again and it removes that highlight. If you click on the title, it will highlight that whole product. And then down at the very bottom is a clear all button. You could clear all your highlights at once. Want to point out that payment stream button. I'm on my FHA product. Your payment stream should have 30 line items of payments. So if you do not have this, it's just because you don't have that calc on MI balance marked, as well as the 360. So if you don't see this on an FHA, this is, to me, is a real quick way to see if you've done it correctly. Always email us at support and we can assist you with that. What you want to do also is go into the more info button. That provides you your payment breakdown where you have your sales price, your P&I plus your monthly costs. Next tab is your closing costs where you have your down payment amount, the LTV percentage, and then you have estimates of your APR costs, just like the fee screens, how it's being displayed. And then you have a fee detail button. So you'll be able to see all those fees listed line item here. It also is an alpha order. Just want to point out this is a new requirement for August 1st. That's why it's an alphabetical order here. Reinvestment strategy. So if you're going to work with that reduction or adding money to the savings, you'll be able to highlight areas in here when you're using that screen. Monthly savings. You'll notice there's no graph. And the reason why there's no graph, this is the highest cost loan. And when that's the case, the graph is showing how much they're going to save over that higher price loan. Click on more info. You have more details about each of the product, and this is where you see the property appreciation percentage and tax percentage. Now let's move over to the short-term savings, the lower right-hand side. So with that, you could go ahead and click on the more info. What this is the savings of the unrecoverable costs. So that's your interest and MI, as well as your closing costs and points. With that, we get our total cost, and that's what we do our comparison against. So this is the savings of your unrecoverable costs. Now with that, let's move to our long-term area. This is the interest and MI over the 15-year period. Clicking on the more info, you can see how you have your home value. That's that property appreciation rate. We're increasing the value each year by that percentage. What is the loan balance at the end of 15 years? How much equity you have, how much total principal you paid, as well as how much pity payment. So a lot of details within those more info buttons. So now I want to point out Edge Live. So with that, I'm clicking on a link or a tab, and I'm pasting the link to the report. You can see that in the web address area. I press return, and the report is coming up. When the borrower sees this, what they do is they'll have to click I understand before they review the report. So now with that, and let me set this side by side. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Let me set up the screen so I could show you real quick how you can use this with your borrower. So once you've sent the link and you're talking to your borrower on the phone, you'll be able to use Edge Live and really make that conversation easy for you. You'll be able to drive their report. And one of the things I want to point out is on the lower left-hand side, you'll see that I have one viewer. With that, that's telling me I have one person viewing the report with me while I'm talking with them. The report happens to be the one on the left-hand side. If you click that link in the chat area, this number will increase. So it gives you an idea how you could confirm that the borrower is viewing your report. Now what you could do is I'm going to drive the report. I'm going to talk about my FHA product with that borrower, and you'll notice when I highlighted, it highlighted on the borrower's copy. If I highlight the conventionals, see how both of them are highlighting. I'm pressing clear all at the bottom, and say we just want to talk about certain items. You can see if I'm talking about the interest rate, how I can highlight it, as well as that cash to close. You can also dive into the more info and really talk about that payment breakdown. You'll see how when I clicked on the more info, I have it on my tab payment breakdown. As I'm highlighting, it's highlighting on the borrower's report. And not only can you drive the presentation with the borrower, you can also do it on the mobile device. And let me show you. Let's go ahead and bring up the report on my mobile, and you'll be able to see how that works as well. Just one moment, bear with me. There we go. I understand. Let's minimize it a little bit. Put it over in the corner. And what I'm going to do is clear out my highlights. And now you'll notice I have two viewers. That's my desktop as well as my mobile app being open. So now I want to talk about my loan amounts. And I'm highlighting. You can see how it's driving the presentation as well on the desktop. And it drove that presentation on my mobile device. If I want to click on more info and go into our payment stream, see how it went ahead and moved it on the mobile device, it moved it on the desktop as well. And then you can highlight information, and it will also highlight on both of mobile as well as the desktop. You could talk about your closing costs, open up your fee details, and really talk about the reserves or items. You can see how it will drop it down to those areas. And this is a quick and easy way for you to hold that conversation with the borrower. You can also make modifications at the same time, so you're not sending a second link or having to redo fee cost sheets or Excel. You could just go into Edge. Let's go ahead and clear out my highlights. And I'm going to change the conventional product just to be, whoops, wrong side, it won't let me highlight. I'm going to change this to 10% down, just to give you an idea of Edge. So if I go into my Edge account, press close, go to my conventional product, increase that to 10, advance the screen, go to my report, and you'll see how that dollar amount, see it just updated here, and it will also update on my reports as well. So that's how you'll be able to do Edge Live and be able to reach your client and really speed up that loan commitment, but be that trusted advisor, provide that information to them and how to educate them about their mortgage loan choices. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring it back Edge, move over my mobile. That is the end of creating a presentation. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go to the home screen, so click on home. Let's go to our settings. Fee templates, you can see my templates I just created. So this is where you can either add fees, modify dollar amounts, and in the lower left, you can even do a copy. That Save As is a copy feature. So you can copy a template here and just create those rather quickly as well. Product templates, you have your product templates here. Have the information. You can see the down payment. I'm removing my rate because I don't like to have my interest rate defaulted. But if you click on the monthly cost, you can see if you need to update any of the information here. You have your reserve number of months. You can go ahead and make those updates as well. And you'll be able to use those on any future report. And what I want to do is go back to new client just to point out how beneficial a template is. If I just put in a conventional, actually I'm going to do an FHA template. Let's do FHA Friday. There we go. And you can see all I have to do is put in my loan amount, interest rate, advance the screen, my fees are part of that template. I could click on closing cost details, modify it if I need to for that particular loan, advance my screen, and all my monthly costs are created. So that's how important it is to take the time and develop those fee and product templates. And if you're on an enterprise account and are within a branch and other people want to be able to have access to those fee templates, email us at support and we'll be able to assist you with that process. So we're at the moving through. Any questions right now developing Edge or going through a report? Okay, then with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's training. Again, I encourage you, go to that help button. Let's go back. Where's my mouse? When you click on help, I want to point out that event calendar we talked about. If you haven't signed up for our Tuesday coaching meetings, please do. You can see all the hosts or the people who are going to be attending. You can sign up right here. Thursday's training is just a QA hour. We develop different scenarios for you, and we just ask questions and show new features, items like that. You're on the Friday class. And then the Mortgage Coach University. Just want to point out all the different things that you'd be able to do. We do have an Edge widget, how to upload settings if you want to attend those trainings, and just all different types of items, how to use the mobile device, how to record video. These are always the first 3 weeks of each month. You can sign up for it and attend the trainings that you're able to, because we know it's quite busy out there, but you can always hop on any call when you're available. With that, I'll stay on for a couple more minutes. If you have any questions, please put it in the question area, and I'll go ahead and address them. Otherwise, just get into Edge, just go in, develop simple, easy reports. You want us to review them, just email us the link to support@Mortgage Coach. We'll review it and provide you any type of feedback. And again, thank you for taking your time to attend Mortgage Coach's training for Edge. And any questions, always let us know. Okay, I do have a question already. Okay, Susan wants me to go back and review how you email the link to the borrower. So not a problem. Let me do that for you. So let's go back to Edge. And let's go into our file. Highlight presentation. Go to preview. So much easier than clicking those arrows. Then the next thing is click on generate link, Susan. You'll have your link here, and you would just copy, and this is what goes into your email, and that's what you would send out. They would just click on it. If they're on a mobile device, it takes them directly to the App Store to download the mobile device, and then they click on it, it will open right up. So that's the link. If that didn't answer your question, Susan, let me know. And as I did earlier, lower right-hand corner has a share button, and you can grab your link that way. But this is what the borrower needs to receive. You never have to resend it. We always update that data. So you can always be able to grab a link rather quickly through that share button in the lower right-hand corner. Any other questions you may have? Okay, with that, I'm just going to go ahead and put it on mute. If you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the question area. I'll be on for about another minute or so. But again, thank you very much. Let us know how you can we can help you in Edge. Email us at support@mortgagecoach.com. Thank you and enjoy your day.